Welcome to our custom space where dreams take flight. A party visions coming.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel Custom Carving and Epoxy UK, and I hope you're all doing well. And you guessed it, it's Froggy Friday again. And this is going to be a bit of a strange one for me because it's just going to be a bit of a play. So, you know me, I'm kind of addicted to blooms right now. So I'm going to be playing around with a bloom for another video. And I'm loving these pigment pastes from Create & Bloom at the minute. So I'm going to be doing a bloom with these three colours that I've picked out, which are Welsh Slate, which is like a lovely sort of darkish medium blue, I would say. I've got Zinnia, which is quite a bright pink. And I've got Honeycomb, which is a lovely yellow. So they're the three colours that I'm going to be using. But I've also got some elixir paste. Now, I don't think this is meant to be used in resin. It just adds some sparkle, I think. So, you know me, I want to see what it's going to look like in resin. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the eyes in first, then I'm going to do my bloom video, then with the leftovers, they're pretty much going to get poured into this frog. And we're going to see what it creates. All those different colours, because there will be a lot of leftovers, because with this bloom, I'm going to paint the petals in, which means I'm going to be probably left with around about 2 ounces, I think, of leftover resin. And I don't want to waste these pigments. So if I pour 2 ounces in there, then just top it up with clear, I think it's going to be so interesting to see what happens. And if we get a crackle effect or something like that. And you never know until you try it. And this is a new frog mold as well, because my last one, somehow, I think I overdid it with the UV and I damaged the mold. So as you all know, the first bit to do is to get the eyes in those sockets. So I've picked out a pair of eyes. Love these. Little purpley eyes I've gone for this time. And all I've done is I've just drawn a line on the back so I know which way round they go. Now, this one, I'm going to go with the horizontal, or try and get them horizontal anyway. And I think where I burnt my mould last time is I put too much UV resin on, and you only need a tiny drop. So first part of this process is to get a tiny drop of UV resin. I'm going to be using the Apex UV resin for this. Just on the side. Well, a tiny drop on the front. There we go. And that's it. You don't need a lot. And then it's a case of trying to position it in there without getting the UV resin over the rest of the mould, which is always the fun bit for me. So I'm just going to try and get it in. There we go. It fell straight into the cavity, luckily. And then I'm just going to move it around a little bit till I get it where I want. And the key is with this as well, it's very easy to go too high. I've done that a few times on a couple of the frogs. I just want it. I think that looks cool to me. So that's it. That's the first stage, you know. Get your UV torch. Once you're happy with where it is, and I think I'm happy with that. I don't think it's too high. You just cure it. It's as simple as that. And that will keep it in place whilst you do the rest of the project. So if you can see, that's probably already cured. Few seconds each side, and that is your eyes. And I'm happy with the positioning, I think, of that one. We'll find out when I pour. And now exactly the same for the other side. And if you've seen me do Froggy Fridays, like you probably have, then apologies for repeating myself, but it could be some people's first experience of a Froggy Friday. So I just want to show how I do it. And again, if you haven't already, please go to the playlist, which will be in the description, and look at all the other creators in there. There's some amazing artists that get involved in Froggy Friday every single week. And you would not believe how many different ideas they come up with for these frogs. But if you can see there, I'm trying to get them both roughly in the same position, because if not, you get what looks like a bit of a wonky frog. And I have got a little bit of UV resin just there. So I'm just going to clean that off the mould, because I don't want that. I want this to just cure the eyes in, and that's it. And then we're going to have a play with these pigments, pour them in after I've done that bloom video, and just see what we get, you know. And that's part of the fun of resin for me. You just play with it and see what happens. But if you can see in there, they're both facing the right direction. So hopefully it's going to turn out. And again, you don't need to do this for too long. 5 or 10 seconds, job done. So there's those eyes, both pointing in the same direction. Hopefully they're going to work. So that's it for now, until I've got some leftovers from that bloom, which should be, once I've done that bloom, we'll come back, we'll pour them in here with some clear resin once I know exactly how much clear resin I'm going to need, and we'll see what happens. It could turn out amazing, or it could turn out to be rubbish. I don't know. And the fact that I'm going to do the bloom first means that these colours are going to be sitting. So hopefully they're not going to all just blend into one colour either. But again, that's part of this experiment for me. So I'm going to be using these 4 and a white for the bloom. And I'm going to pour all of those leftovers in this frog once I've done the bloom. So I'll be right back. Right, so here we go on this Froggy Friday, and this is a bloom that I've just poured. Basically what I've done is I've used some of these Create and Bloom pigment paste, painted the petals in, moved it all around, drawn the petals in, so I want to see what that's going to come out like. But I've got all of these leftover beautiful colours that I wanted to see what they're going to look like in a frog. And as you can see, when you're painting the petals in blooms, it doesn't take a lot. And I've also got this elixir paste, which I don't think is supposed to go in resin and be mixed in resin, but that was part of my experiment. So I'm going to move you to, because that's what this is all about. His eyes are already in there. I'm going to try and get this to lock. Here we go. So first thing I'm going to do, I've got a tiny bit of clear left. Not a lot, as you can see. I'm just going to scrape whatever's left in my cup. That is going to go in first. And for me, this is, as I say, it's just an experiment to see what's going to happen. I'm probably going to need to mix up a tiny bit more resin as well to fill him up. But I just wanted to have fun with it. So I'm going to try and layer these, I think. And they've been sat for about half an hour whilst I've been obviously creating that bloom. So the first one is this elixir, which, look at that. It's like a glittery paste. So you're all telling me that glitter is life. That's going in there first. Just a little bit, not all of it yet. Then I think I'm going to go in with this Welsh slate. And as you can see, I'm just kind of puddle pouring these. And I think whatever's going to happen is going to be pretty interesting. Next I'm going to go in with the yellow honeycomb. And you never know, we might even have enough to fill this. Don't know. But this is what I love with resin, you know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's just fun. All I know is that if I didn't do this, I wouldn't know what would happen. And I just want to see really what's going to happen to these colours as they all intermix and the resin starts to cure. And I have done a white as well, so we'll put some white in now. Again, about half of it. Here we go, it's starting to move at the sides now. And I'm going to try and do the same pattern again. So the rest of all of it's going to go in now. I'm going to try and do it from a bit of a height. So this is that rest of that elixir. I want it all to go in because if I can fill this frog without mixing anymore, look at those colours though. That is looking amazing already. And I'm using a different camera because the first one's battery ran out. So things will always go wrong when you do resin, you'll learn that. But you've got to persist, you know, and hopefully we're still going to get a really cool effect. So this is that Welsh slate. And this is going to look, hopefully, amazing. And because I've waited for the resin to, I suppose, heat up whilst I've been doing that bloom, I think that these should potentially stay reasonably separate. But I don't know. And that's the beauty of it. I don't know. And I've done this second layer in the wrong order. I know that. I've just realised. Should have been the yellow first, but there we go. Hopefully it'll add to the effect, whatever effect that's going to be. Now the rest of that yellow. And I can already see I'm going to be a little bit short. But I am going to, once I finish this pour effect, this puddle pour, you can see it's thickening up already. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape the remainders of every cup into this frog. You know? And then see how much space we're left with. So, I'm going to put a bit of clear in again, because I think there's a tiny drop in here. And then it's going to be a case of probably mixing up, I think, another ounce, if I'm being honest, looking at this. But I want to get it all in there, so that none of these colours and pigments are wasted. And I might even leave it to cure and then put a separate layer on. Or I might not. So there's that again. Next I'm going to go in with the blue, or the Welsh slate. And this is, as I say, I don't want to waste any of these pigments and these colours, so I thought it'd be cool to try and do two projects at once and create a wonderful frog for Froggy Friday. And again, massive shout out to everybody that's involved in Froggy Friday. So Karen from the Dragon's Cave, Lula from Nerd Goblin Art, Gert as well from Gert Creates, Tim, Bass Resonator, the Girl in the Garage. All of them are amazing. And everybody that gets involved in Froggy Friday every week, you're amazing too. So keep doing what you're doing, you know. It's amazing how many different ideas you all come up with every week for the same mould. And that's what I absolutely love, is the fact that we still don't get many duplicates, you know. We still get so many different ideas every week in, week out, with this same frog mould, which I think is amazing. So as you can see, I'm just trying to use them all up. Now I don't want white to be the last colour, so I'm going to use the white up next. And again, put that in. It's almost full. It's about, I would say, I think an ounce short, which isn't too bad. I think I've probably got 3 ounces in this 4 ounce mould at the minute. And I'm not going to mix them round or anything. Whatever the resin decides to do at this point, it decides. And then the rest of this pink. And I'm just loving these colours. And I'm hoping we get to see some of them different, and it might even create a few effects on the end product. But I won't know that until tomorrow. So there's those. And looking at it, I'm about an ounce short here. So, what do I do now? I'm going to mix up some more resin, probably about an ounce. And I'm going to use whatever colour's left on that stick whilst I mix them up. So this is the original cup that I used. And I'm just going to mix, literally, I think an ounce should fill it. So don't panic as well if you undermix, you know. You can always mix up a little bit more. I'm going to eyeball this as well. I'm pretty good usually at eyeballing. Let's hope I am today. And then it's what I'm going to add to it. I'm thinking glitter, because I think those pigments, because they've been sitting, I think they're going to pretty much stay where they are. And that is definitely enough. I think that's, just looking at 2 ounces I've mixed up there. I don't think I needed 2. I think I only needed 1. But doesn't matter. I will find a spare mould. So all I'm going to do now is whatever colours are left on there, I'm going to mix around. So that's going to be interesting just to see if they mix into this resin anyway. I'm going to stir it around for a bit to try and make sure that it's all mixed. And this is not the right way to do resin, guys. I know. This is improvisation because I've had to. And we'll see what happens, you know. So that's that. Now I'm thinking a bit of glitter. I've got some glitter by the side of me. This is some chameleon glitter. I'm going to put a bit in there. Not too much, but just enough. I've got some iridescent flakes as well by the side of me. So I'm going to put some of those in there as well, just to see what happens. And then I've got some alcohol inks as well. So, in fact, no, I'm going to give him a bit of a chameleon blue, actually. I want a bit of a chameleon blue base, because I love this chameleon blue powder. Not too much, but just a sprinkle, because I don't want this to overtake the piece either. And we're going to mix all this together and then fill him up. It's as simple as that, and froggies can be that simple. So again, the glitter's in there, the chameleon, and that clear resin. I haven't put any alcohol inks in at this point. I don't think I will actually, because I quite like that as a mixture. And just mixing it round. So we've got that, which is hopefully going to create a pretty cool base to this hopefully colourful frog. I don't know. And then what I am going to do, no I'm not, I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to add anything else to it. I think that mixture there will fill him up nicely, and it hopefully will give us yet another effect. So, again, I'm going to do this from a bit lower down, because I don't want this to all intermix too much. It probably will. I've got to go into these toes as well. But I think it's going to be an interesting frog, this. I really do. I just want to fill him all the way up, especially these feet and these toes. Now, before I go any further, I'm just going to go under the chin as well with my silicone tool. If you're going to get bubbles, they're going to be under this chin. So again, just go under there, try and loosen them up like that. And then I'm going to completely top him up. And I don't know what he's going to turn out like. I honestly don't, but that's part of the fun for me of doing resin. I won't know until tomorrow morning whether it's worked. And you guys will see that at the same time, you know. So that is that little froggy. I'm just weighing it up now whether I need to put any more in. I think he's pretty much full. But I'm just going to go into these toes, each and every one, making sure that they're all filled. Trying not to move anything around too much, but just double checking that they're all filled. And this is a brand new mould as well, so I don't want to wreck it. A little bit more in there, and I think he's actually resting on something, so slightly unlevel. I might check that in a second, because I do want him to cure properly. And I could have got away with 1 ounce, so I'm just going to move him around. There we go, so I know he's not resting on anything. And I'm just eyeballing him now. He could probably fit a couple more drops in, but that's about it. And that will be my Froggy Friday. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he turns out like. Now, I've got a tiny bit of resin left, so I'm just going to fill this mould as well, which is an Resin diamond jellyfish mould. Always have some of these lying around for any spare resin, you know. They make great key rings, they make great gifts, and it's better than wasting your resin. I think that's pretty much all I'm going to get out of there. So, that's this Froggy Friday. I'm going to demold tomorrow, and we'll see what we've got. So it should be an interesting one, quite a quick one for me, and it's just a fun experiment to see what happens. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you there. So we are back. It is the next day, and it's a day close to Froggy Friday for me because it's Thursday, but I need to get this done so that I can edit the video for you guys on Froggy Friday. And do me a favour, if you haven't already, check out the playlist in the description. As I said, there's some amazing artists in there that do something creative with this frog mould pretty much every week. So let's demold the spare first. Everybody likes a bit of spare resin, and that's come out really cool. That is just that jellyfish in that diamond mould from Resin, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It's just a pretty straightforward spare resin keyring or something. I think I'll probably turn it into a keyring, so that's that. But the main thing I'm excited for is this frog. So let's get him demolded. As always, I try and do the toes first, because if anywhere's going to break, which hasn't happened yet, it'll be those toes. So you just want to go around each toe I'll loosen it up a little bit and get that demolding started. And it has been, as I say, pretty much the full 24 hours, so I'm not worried about it not being cured, which is strange for me. I'm normally not patient enough to wait, but today I did. So there we go, that's one foot free and the other, and it's still a tiny bit flexible, but you often find until they've been fully demolded for 2 or 3 days you get that. So there we go, that's that one pretty much out as well. And now let's demold the rest of him, shall we? Or her. It could be either. It is a frog. And out we come, and hopefully I can just get under the head and pop the head out. And there we go. So no breakages, nice clean mould. It's a good start. And I'm liking the back, just with the glittery effect. And I'm loving that chin actually. Just zoom you in a little bit. Look at that. Beautiful chin. Showing some of those beautiful pigment paste through. Let's just flip him over, shall we? Oh, wow. Look at him. Or her. I think it's a her. I think it's a lady frog. And she is beautiful. With those different colours of pigment. Mainly got that Welsh slate on the top with a bit of that flourish paste, but that's also answered that question. Can you use the flourish paste in resin? Yes, you can. And I'm loving the markings that came out from it, and that was just pouring it in, as you saw in that puddle pour. But I think it came out really cool, especially these legs with the different colours showing. Loving those. But let me know what you think. I think it's the right eyes as well for this little froggy. But as always, let me know what you think. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel as well. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe. I'll put the QR code there again. And if you can, join membership. You know, it's a great way to support the channel. And I'm going to be doing that monthly prize draw tomorrow, so that'll be interesting, where one of the members gets a piece of my art delivered to them wherever they are in the world. But I absolutely love this frog, the way it's turned out. So let me know what you think in comments, and I'll see you on the next one.
Welcome to our custom space where dreams take flight. Epoxy visions coming to life. It's a perfect sight. We born together, blooming three, resin family. Testing like us, new creations. We set the free. Join our journey, like and subscribe. This is our place. Ocean seas to dragons and blooms we carve with grace. Welcome to custom carving, where dreams come true.